Wonderful. Good evening, everybody. My name is Jonathan Trop. I'm pleased to call the meeting to order at 7:34 p.m. This is the December 11th, 2025 meeting of the Edit Task Force. As just an initial observation, sort of outside of our agenda, I did watch the meeting from last month that Charlotte chaired in my absence. A fine job. I want to thank her. And with that, I'll ask you all to join me, please, in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the
Pledge
flag
allegiance to
of
the
the United
flag,
States of
United
America,
States of America,
to the republic
to the
for which it
republic
stands,
which it
one
stands,
nation,
one
under
nation,
God,
under God,
indivisible, with liberty
indivisible,
and
with
justice
liberty and
for all.
justice for all.
Thank you. I'll do my usual facilitation of the roll call. In addition to myself and our Vice Chair, Charlotte Fleming, we have David Rosenberg, Rick Bolton, Chris Powell, and Samantha Miller. We are joined by Attorney Jim Cordone. We are very fortunate to have Michelle Jacob with us, who will be on our agenda a little bit later. And of course, Clerk Joanne Ornstein and Bill Chin. We have not had any correspondence in the last month. And so, Bill, I'll ask you to see if there's anybody out there who has any public comment.
Mr. Chairman, there are no members of the public currently in attendance.
Thank you, sir. Next up on the agenda is approval of the minutes of November 13th. I will abstain because I missed that meeting. Let's see, was everybody else in attendance? Shala, Rick, David, Chris and Samantha were absent, so I guess it's a small voting crew. Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
Motion to approve our minutes from the November 13th, 2025 meeting.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second.
All right. Any discussion? All right, hearing none. Shala, Rick, David, what do you think?
Approved.
In favor. Mhm.
All right, so that's unanimous with abstentions from myself, Chris, and Samantha. Thank you. Next up is our discussion with Michelle Jacob, as promised, the Director of Human Services. So, Michelle, thank you so very much for joining us. We are engaged in the process of inviting department heads to visit with us periodically, and you are the first. We've met with others ad hoc, but you are the first to be scheduled under this attempt to do it with sort of periodicity. So thank you. And our goal is to hear from you about your department and its scope and any of the issues that you confront that relate to your efforts to serve the town in an equitable and inclusive way, and any ways that we can help you. So the floor is yours.
Sure. Thank you. I appreciate you having me. I've tried to do a little research on your commission, and I haven't watched any of the meetings, but I've tried to see your minutes and see what you guys do. So I definitely look forward to hearing more about what you guys are working on. But I wanted to just share what our department consists of. The Human Services Department, there's a lot going on. We just continue to grow. I want to say, in 2016, when I came on board, we were really the senior center and social services and the food pantry. And since then, we have taken on 2 other departments. So in addition, we have our Youth Services Bureau, Counseling Center, our Prevention Coalition. So what I'll do is I'll just kind of let you know each department and just a few things what they do. I'll start with the Senior Center. It's probably the most well-known right now. Really the objective of a senior center is to enrich the lives of older adults by providing education, fitness, wellness, health, prevent loneliness, isolation, depression, chronic illness. So we're open 5 days a week. We have activities and programs running all day, and we accommodate anyone over the age of 55. We provide transportation to and from the senior center. And in addition to that, we provide transportation to and from doctor's appointments for seniors in the community, as well as trips to grocery stores and like I think twice a month we do fun leisure trips to museums, restaurants, all of that. So we have a lot going on. I don't know if any of you have ever seen our newsletter sitting around in town buildings, but my program coordinator, Ronnie Mogensen, has a full schedule and she does a great job. We do have a pretty big membership. I'm not sure if everybody was following with the new, hopes of a new senior center, but we are growing and, running out of space. So we are happy to say that we are a full house. If anything, we're serving a large number of seniors in the community. Also housed in the senior center is our social services department and food pantry. And social services, really, we're here to try and meet the basic needs of Trumbull residents. And we work with a lot of caregivers to try to help anyone in that sandwich generation or just taking on the stress of being a caregiver of an older adult. We do benefits and assistance, so we will screen individuals in the community of all ages for SNAP benefits, aka food stamps, energy assistance, heating assistance, Medicare, Medicaid, all of that, you name it, any program out there, we are here to help guide you through the program. Anybody just needing assistance or has a question, they can come in, we'll do a screening, provide resources and referrals. Homelessness, we try to provide screenings for the need for housing and try to do our best for referrals, which is really difficult to do. Jennifer Gillis runs our social services department. She's been here for, I want to say, maybe 25 years. She's very well known in the community. She does a lot of outreach over at Stern Village as well. So that department alone has a lot going on with just Jen and her admin. In addition to social services is our food pantry. We serve about 250 families a month. They can come in and shop weekly. They come in, it's a private shopping experience with a shopping cart and they get the foods that they need. We have a partnership with Wade's Dairy, so we can provide dairy products. We often serve meat that we get from Connecticut Food Share, formerly known as the Connecticut Food Bank. And what's fantastic about our food pantry is it is almost 100%, well, I'm going to say 100% supported, the food in there by the residents of the Trumbull community. So any money we spend on food comes from donations by our residents, which is fantastic. Trumbull's very generous. And the regular food bank or food donations and collections that happen on a regular basis keep our food pantry stocked. So Trumbull's an incredible community for what they do for us. Families can come in weekly if they need to for fresh produce. Right now, social services in the food pantry are providing Christmas gifts, Christmas dinners. We just got done doing Thanksgiving dinners. And a lot of families are being sponsored for Christmas toys and all of that. I don't know if you guys have seen, we're doing a giving tree this year. We're focusing on teenagers to not forget them. The Long Hill Fire Department every year does a toy drive. We'll post videos at some point, but if you wanted to come in, we have an entire dance room set up like a toy store. And families come in, a lot of teenagers come in and shop for their younger siblings. So it's pretty cool. We have coats. I mean, you name it. We're trying to do it all. And it's a staff of 2.5, but they really do a great job. So in addition to those departments, we have our counseling center, Mary J. Sherlock Counseling Center. The house on the hill, a lot of people don't even know where it's at. It's tiny, it's hidden. We are also known as the Youth Services Bureau. So the counseling center has, we just hired a third clinician. On Monday, so we are full staff again. All three are clinicians. They provide counseling services to Trumbull residents, some town employees, and any student in the school district, and work with a lot of families. In addition to that, being the Youth Services Bureau, we try to provide prevention, outreach, and services for our youth to keep them out of the juvenile system. We also are what's known as the Juvenile Review Board, but that is changing. I actually have to pull up my notes to tell you the name of what that's changing to. Let me see where I have them. So the Juvenile Review Board is going to be the Youth Diversion Program. And basically we work with the courts and the schools for referrals. The kids are referred to us. They sit in front of a panel of vetted individuals in this community, such as police officers, social workers, teachers, you name it, anyone who's really invested in the youth, and will walk our kids through taking responsibility for their actions, apologizing. being given community service hours, and, in hopes that they stay out of the court system. And we have Melissa Roberto is our Juvenile Review Board coordinator, and she is retired from the state of Connecticut. She's been in juvenile justice her entire career, so we're very lucky to have her. She does a fantastic job. And lastly, we have TPOD. I know Joanne is very familiar with TPOD. I think she might even serve on the TPOD board. TPOD is new to my department. I'm still learning a lot about TPOD. They came on board with us in July, and they are Trumbull's Prevention Coalition. They have been around for years, many, many years. They're in the schools providing information, education. They really work on prevention for mental health, drug and alcohol use. And whether they're out training organizations, bringing in presenters and speakers, providing community education, they've been very successful in shaping policy and legislation in the state of Connecticut, which is fantastic, and in Trumbull. And right now they're actually working on, I don't know how often it is. It's every couple of years or maybe every year, a survey where they survey the high school students and middle school students. I don't know if you guys have seen the presentation. Am I right, Joanne? Yeah.
Every year.
It is every year. Okay. And I've always looked forward to this survey. Not only do they collect all the demographics of our students, but they inquire about their mental health needs, how they're feeling, what's going on, drug usage, and we get some pretty good data and feedback. The high school has completed the survey. I believe it is being sent to the middle school this week, or they're doing it this week. So if you did want a presentation from TPOD, Melissa McGarry or Kirsten are happy to provide that information once they get the results and let you know what is going on with Trumbull Youth. And I think I don't want to overwhelm you anymore. It is a lot. It is a lot of what we offer. I don't know if you have questions, but you did ask about issues. The one thing that I think we always face is we're a municipality. We don't have this amazing, huge staff. We have an amazing small staff. We do the best we can. So outreach, we always want to know how we can do better outreach and who we're not reaching, who doesn't know we exist and how can we reach them? And what groups in this community are we not serving? So there's a question that I always have. I'm always looking for help on. Recently, I just reached out to Alliance in Bridgeport. They are who provides all of the heat and energy assistance. They do a lot of case management for low-income individuals, and they they train us, and all my staff work with them to get our residents energy assistance. But in addition, anyone from the area can go there and get screened for benefits as well. So I've actually just reached out to the director to ask, who are you seeing in Trumbull? And who is asking for help that is not coming to us and asking for help, because we really want to know if there's individuals out there who don't know about us or not comfortable coming to us. So that is kind of the next thing that I am trying to find out. That's it.
That's great. I'm exhausted just listening.
Okay, I'm exhausted.
It's amazing the number of different areas you are responsible for and that you touch virtually across the entire town, across all age brackets, across all demographics. So thank you for that, and as well for the suggestion that we might talk to TPOD. I think we have occasionally considered that, and my guess is that we will now put that higher on our plans. Would you mind sharing with us, just for a minute, a little bit about how you work with other departments in town? From your comments, I infer that you must have a relationship with the police department, with the education department. I know you have a relationship with the health department. Maybe you could share just a little bit about that.
Sure, I'm glad you asked, because I didn't want to add that onto my presentation and talk more. But we are really trying hard to collaborate and work together. And that's what's great about Human Services. We've all existed. Now we're all one, and we're under the same umbrella. We are actually holding meetings. We're trying, every couple of months, where all of the service providers get together, and we include the social worker at the police department, who actually, I believe the new one just started this week. So we're lucky to have that position back. We work very closely with Trumbull PD. EMS also has attended to give us data and statistics on what they're seeing out there, whether it's overdose, suicide, prevention, falls for seniors, who are the repeat offenders that, are constantly, ending up in the hospital. We also work with emergency management. Megan Murphy, our fire marshal, she is, responsible for opening up a shelter, and we are shelter managers to help her if we ever needed to open one in this community. Any kind of crisis response, Megan, is in charge of. And so we work closely with her to know what the plan is and how we can help. And the health department, of course, we've worked side by side with them for years. And I think I covered everyone. If I'm forgetting one, I forget, but we really do try to have a relationship with everybody so they know what's going on and we're not duplicating services.
So you mentioned that one of your challenges is just trying to get the word out about all that you do and all that you provide. And so I won't pretend that we have an enormous audience that pays rapt attention to us, but there are some who will watch our meetings or read our minutes, and I'm delighted that we could play some small part in helping you in that way. Is there anything else that we could do that would be of help to you? Recognizing that we are also only a few people and we have no budget.
Right. I just think it'd be great for us to visit with each other, a couple times a year or check in. I don't know I'd like to know more about what you guys do, or if you're focused on anything, how we can be in support of that. I think, again, like, having TPOD come, also Melissa Roberto from our Juvenile Review Board. I think she works with youth and she's really seeing a lot of the challenges that are going on out there. She'd be a great guest. I mean.
Okay. Thank you for that suggestion as well. I won't, I don't want to monopolize, and I don't want to go on at great length, but I think I can, in a nutshell, sum our mission as to try to make sure that Trumbull is and is seen to be and is felt to be an inclusive place, and that people feel welcome and that their voices are heard. And so among the things that we are trying to do, as I indicated at the top of this agenda item, is reach out to all the departments and provide opportunities for them to come talk to us and for people around town to hear what they do and what challenges they face, and shine a light on that. So I won't expand on that at this minute, but I would be happy to talk to you offline at any length at any time. Does anybody else have, there we go. Samantha.
Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you so much for that information, Michelle. One of the questions I do.
I could hear you, and then it kind of started going in and out. So
I'm so sorry. I'm in transit and am battling laryngitis. But I wonder if you could just talk a little bit more about how you do get the word out. Like this is new to me, right? And I'm thinking about other folks who would benefit from your services. And so how do you get the word out about the services that you all provide?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great question. And I've been asked that my entire career in human services. We can put out publications, we can put out flyers, we can put out emails, social media, no matter where we advertise anything. It's rare that someone is going to read it. Honestly, what usually works is one of you will tell someone else, and that'll be how we get a referral, and that'll be how somebody learns of our service. So we're really just trying to reach anyone we can. We rely a lot on the schools, all of the social workers, the school counselors. We've created relationships with businesses in town. We have so many local businesses and residents that are supporters. So the more people that we can form relationships with, the more people know and can provide those resources. But it is hard. It really is one person at a time. And I welcome this group. If you have any experience or if you learned anything, to let us know if you have any suggestions or ideas on, are we missing pockets of individuals who isn't hearing about us? We're always open for that. It is a challenging task.
Paula?
I join everyone who's shared gratitude for you being here, Michelle. I appreciate all the information. I am curious if there are volunteer opportunities. I heard you say you're a team of 2.5, and 2.5 great people, and so I'm just curious if there are any precise instances or examples of opportunities for folks to volunteer to support any of the services that y'all are providing.
We do offer volunteer opportunities. There might be a small wait list actually right now. We're trying to fill those spots. The town of Trumbull has a fantastic program for individuals over the age of 55, I believe. And if they're a homeowner, if they give 100 hours to the town of volunteer services, they do get a tax credit on their property tax. So we try to make sure that older adults or anyone over the age who is in need of that credit, we find them a position. So primarily, most of our volunteers are older. We try to serve the youth, but we're open during school hours. We have our applications online. We're always open to people calling, and if their schedule works with ours, we'll find them a spot.
Anybody
you.
else have questions for Michelle? Okay. So with the only negative note being to note my deep disappointment that 55 is senior, I thank you very much.
Welcome.
And you're welcome to stick around or go on to other things this evening, but thank you for joining us. We will be in touch with you, I think, about a return visit at some future period. And I think we probably
Great.
will also follow up on your suggestions to talk with some of those others you mentioned. So thank you.
Great. Yeah, I'll turn off my camera. I don't mind. I just would like to listen to the rest of your meeting if that's okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Great.
Nice to meet everybody. Thank you.
Thank you. So moving on to old business, some of what we'll do here, we can move through a little quickly, and some will take a little bit of time. On the diversity training update, I am delighted to update you and let you know that there was diversity training yesterday. I'm also pleased to tell you that the only initial report I have of it was very positive. Tom McCarthy thanked the presenters, described it, I think, this is my word, not my phrase, not his, but as somewhat eye-opening, very positive. He was appreciative of the opportunity, and it was planning to circle back with department chairs and solicit their feedback, which I assume would precede whatever might be any next steps. And so I reached out to Tom earlier today. The training was only yesterday, or I'm sorry, 2 days ago, and did not connect with him, but I will look forward to connecting with him to hear more. Also to try to pester him to join our periodic roster, and that might provide him a direct opportunity to talk with all of us about that training, among other things. But I'm delighted that it came together. I'm delighted that it had initial positive feedback, and I think we'll stay tuned. Does anybody have any questions about that report? Not that I think I would be able to answer them. Okay. Moving on to our book club, which is scheduled for February 2nd, 2026. As you all know, we have selected the book Uncomfortable Conversations with a Jew, and that will take place at the Trumbull Library. I think that in fairness to this committee, I ought to share with you, although we have not received any correspondence on this, that there was a Facebook post in Trumbull Talks from Mark Block. Ordinarily, I wouldn't make too much of who made the post, but in this case, since he is a immediate past candidate for first selectman, I think it's important to call attention to the post. And Mr. Block begins his post by saying something like, "Trumbull residents are questioning." What I guess I would like to say is that there are 0 Trumbull residents who have come to edit with a single concern about the choice of this book. We have received no emails about it. I'm not aware of anybody reaching out to any member of our committee. Certainly nobody has reached out directly to me. But there was this post in Trumbull Talk saying Trumbull residents are questioning, and Mr. Block has I was looking for a way to say this, but I'll say it slightly differently, has posted in that location his concerns with our book choice, his views that the choice of the book was controversial, and his suggestions for alternatives that we might have considered, as well as his concern about the selection process. My response to that last point is the selection process is more or less exactly what it has been in our meetings and in our minutes, and our choice of this book was posted in our minutes from October. And so the fact that this first shows up in a Facebook post last week, or maybe even this week, is disappointing. And the fact that it was done in that venue instead of coming to us is more disappointing. Now, having said all of that, I accept Mr. Block's point that there are other choices of books that could have been made. And from my perspective, I'll get off my soapbox in a minute. From my perspective, there are very few books on almost any topic that won't be controversial in some way, shape, or form. And frankly, if they're interesting to read, then you would expect that somebody is going to disagree with something in one of them. From my perspective, this is a discussion book. As those who have been coming to our book club know, we don't stick to the text. We use it as a launching point for conversation. And I certainly would invite Mr. Block or anybody else who wants to come to the book club to participate in that conversation. Before I jump off my soapbox, or I guess as I jump off my soapbox, I would simply invite members of the committee, because Mr. Block urges us to reconsider the book choice, to share any views or concerns they may have about whether we want to make any change in that selection. I will say that I have read through about half the book. I had not read it before. I certainly didn't select it because I knew what it said, or I should say, my personal vote joining the committees in favor of selecting it was not because I knew what it said. I haven't found anything that I've read so far to be offensive, let alone particularly controversial. But if anybody on the committee wants to say anything on the subject, I invite you now.
Did Mr. Block read the book?
I don't know. He says critics have said.
Ah,
Shala.
I have read the book and I'm in the process of rereading it for book club. I do think it's important to highlight, because in the post there it seems to be a question of our processes for choosing books, and so I think it's important to highlight that there is a process that has been followed consistently for each of the books that we've chosen, and it's all in the minutes. And additionally, I would share that when any book, any movie, anything that is for public consumption is put out, lots of people have lots of different perspectives on it. And just as Mr. Black has potentially highlighted some critics, there are actually a lot of people who praise the book. One of the books that he noted could have been another choice, we actually did consider, and it wasn't selected. And so I think this is an open invitation for anyone who is concerned, wondering, worried about the book to read it and come have a conversation with us. It's easy to sit in, your own echo chamber, so to speak. But it's a different thing to actually engage and come talk about it.
Anybody else?
It smells a little like an old-fashioned book banning. It's like, how else is anyone supposed to know what's in it unless you read it for yourself? So I agree with Shala. He should show up to the book club and he should voice his issues and let him be heard.
Any other comments?
I would find his comments more interesting if he had read the book and was in a position to actually point out what it is that he considers to be a problem. It sounds to me that at most he's making a judgment based upon the title. So this doesn't sound to me like a very informed opinion, and I think we should treat it accordingly.
I would only add a couple of things then. One is that nobody is forced to come to the book club or read the book. Nobody who comes to the book club is forced to read the book. Everybody who has been coming to the book club is an adult. Most of them would actually qualify as seniors, I've learned. And I look forward to having a good conversation about that book at our book club on February 2nd. All right, moving on then. Next item on our agenda is updates regarding invitations to future meetings. So we kicked off, I think, in high form tonight, and we're now in the process of filling out the lineup, if you will. I'll report briefly on the status of our initiative with respect to each of the invitations. So first, not in any particular order, Shala and I are trying to set up a meeting with First Selectman Tesoro to discuss a few things, including our survey. But at that meeting, we'll try to make an invitation for her to join us at some future meeting of ours. I spoke with Joan Littlefield, Director of the Health Services, earlier this week, and she's relatively new to her position. She's enthusiastic about coming to see us, but would like to get her sea legs under her a little bit more before she does. And so we agreed that we would reach back out to her at some point several months down the road in 2026. Shal and I are going to be meeting with Stefan Lynn Nielsen and others at the library next week to talk a little bit about the relationship we have with the library, and we'll try to nail down a time for him or them to come join us at some future meeting. Rena Bacalar is extraordinarily busy this time of year. I don't know if it's a period always this time of year, but at least this year right now. And she has suggested that she would like to come see us in March if we would like to have her. So we can come back to that when I finish the roster. Colin Bassett of EMS has indicated a interest in talking to us. I'm still chasing him. We haven't gotten more concrete than that. Tom McCarthy, as I said, I'm trying to reach out to him now that we got through the anti-bias training, and we'll try to get something on the calendar with him. Michael Lombardo, Chief of Police, has said he'd be glad to come almost at our convenience, what works. So let's talk about where to try to slot him if we can. Marty Semmel, the superintendent of schools, has indicated a willingness to have a conversation about this. He had actually offered to talk to me, I think, some number of weeks ago, and I let the ball drop, and so now I'm chasing. And Mr. Paris has not responded to me at Parks and Rec, but I'm hopeful he will, and if not, then we may go back to the person who did come to us from Parks and Rec and see if we can pursue it that way. So I don't know that we need to necessarily have a full slate, but if we'd like to try to schedule, for example, Chief Lombardo for January, we might try to do that, and then look to see if somebody wants to fill in February, and then Rena Bacalar would be in March. Is there anybody who has thoughts about that plan? Okay. Does anybody have any concerns then if I proceed in that way? I'll invite Chief Lombardo for January.
Right.
Okay, I see heads nodding now. And I promised Rena that after the calendar flipped, we'd follow up with her and try to nail something down for March if that suits the committee. Okay. And maybe in January we can try to figure out if somebody will fit into the February slot. We'll have some more information, I hope, by the next meeting. Any further discussion on that one? Seeing none. Next item up on our agenda is an update regarding the townwide survey. I've already given it. Shal and I are trying to set up a meeting with First Selectman Tesoro to talk about our draft survey and how we might be able to get that distributed because of the election and then the crush of post-election business and other year-end business. We won't be able to get on her calendar until January, but I'm hopeful that we'll be able to have a meeting with her sometime in early January. Any questions about or comments on that? Fine. Moving on to new business. We need to pick our calendar for next year and have it submitted before the end of the year. In years past, we met on the third Thursday of each month. This year, people preferred the second Thursday of each month. Should we like to stick with the second Thursday of each month? Those dates would be January 8th, February 12th, March 12th, April 9th, May 14th, June 11th, July 9th, August 13th, September 10th, October 8th, November 12th, and December 10th. As best I can tell, none of those dates is problematic from a holiday perspective. To be more forthcoming on that point, I believe April 9th is during Passover, but it is not the first or second night of Passover, and so it would not interfere with people's Seders. And December 10th is during Hanukkah, but that holiday is a little bit different, and it's not the first or second night of Hanukkah. Frankly, if you're trying to avoid all of Hanukkah, you lose 25% of the month. So my inclination is to not worry about those two dates. I will hasten to add, as was pointed out in response to Mr. Block's post and has sometimes been pointed out previously, and the chairman is a Jew. So there you go. In any event, yeah. In any event, I'm not aware of any other holidays that are jeopardized, and I'll invite discussion on whether that's the right set of dates. And then I want to come around to a question about format.
I would certainly prefer to be kept it on the second Thursday. I have another organization that meets on Thursdays, third week of the month, so it would
Okay.
create a real conflict for me.
All right. So if the second Thursday works, let me then pick up the question of format. We have always visited on the question of whether to meet in person at all. We could meet in person every month. We could meet in person not at all, which is how we've been doing it. Or we could have a hybrid system in which, whether it's quarterly or on some other periodicity, twice a year, we tried to get together in person. My personal concern about that is that it's a recipe for people showing up in the wrong place. And it can sometimes be hard enough to get a quorum when everybody's able to just hop on Zoom without worrying about rushing over to the town hall in person from wherever we might be during the day. But I wanted to invite discussion on this in case others feel differently. I know Rodney couldn't be here tonight. He raised with me at the board and commissions dinner his interest in getting together in person. And I sat down next to someone at that meeting on a different commission who talked about the value of meeting in person and the change in the dynamic that she perceived when people get together in person. And I certainly appreciate that there are pros and cons, and we lose the pros of getting together in person when we avoid the cons. one of the pros of getting together in person is simply the ability to get together in person, to see one another and interact in that way. We tried to address that a year or so ago by I had people over to the house and just as a social evening, and we can certainly try to do that once or twice in the year to make up for some of the loss of um, in-person gathering. But I will again sort of shut up and give people a chance to share their views.
I just offer that I love the in-person thing, but I agree that it probably just adds one more complication to everyone's life.
Samantha.
I like the idea of the hybrid. I know it could be challenging.
I'm sorry, I can't hear Samantha. Would someone who can tell me what she's saying when she's done?
I'll try to speak louder. I said I like the idea of hybrid. It can be challenging for folks, but I do think there are huge benefits to it. And I would imagine that there are a number of other meetings that we all attend in person. And so if not every month and we can plan accordingly, I think we could manage to get together and get a quorum, a few times during the course of the year.
So I think
Did you
Samantha
hear her?
finished, but I could not. Could others?
I could tell you what she said if you want.
Please.
She said she likes the idea of a hybrid. She thinks there's huge benefits to being able to meet in person periodically, and that perhaps and that many people make meetings on a regular basis live or in person. So maybe a quarterly in-person meeting.
Okay. Others?
I'm not
Yeah,
against
I think-
hybrid. I think quarterly would be, sorry. Quarterly would probably be a lot. I would probably be more in favor of twice a year. My personal situation is I'm always working until at least 7:05. So every time we're going to do an in-person meeting, it's literally jump up from my desk, run to the car, and get where I got to go. So it's and if something, if there's something around the house that needs, attention and I haven't been able to deal with it for the last 2 or 3 hours, most of I pretty much work. My normal work hours are 2 to 9. So in person is not better.
Chris, I don't mean to put you on a spot, but I know that you may have some difficulties getting to the town hall in person. Is that a concern for you?
That would be a concern for me, especially since it's during the week and I'm up at stores during the week. Um, Especially with my spring 2026 schedule, I would not be able to make it in person for our in-person hybrid meetings, at least from January to May. But after May, I would be able to. So that's my only concern about that. But I am fine with everything else.
Okay. David, Shala?
Yeah, it's definitely for me personally is definitely more convenient to meet on Zoom. But if we are calendaring at whatever cadence, twice a year, quarterly, whatever it might be, with enough notice and sticking to these selected dates, then I can definitely get to an in-person meeting.
That sounds like a reasonable compromise.
So maybe what we can do is think about June. And Chris, do you go back to school in September, or is September still okay for you?
September will be fine for me.
So maybe we can try June and September in person and the others on Zoom, or I know that that's two dates and they're not symmetrical, which may they're not, they're not at half year intervals, but does that make sense? Dipping our toe in the water?
Yeah, I don't mind the asymmetry. I would certainly prefer the second meeting in September rather than December or January for, weather reasons more than anything else. I mean,
I had some of that in mind, Rick.
yeah,
So,
I thought right.
uh, I guess I'll invite a motion then to have our meetings during the calendar year 2026 on the second Thursday of the month. That is to say, January 8, February 12, March 12, April 9, May 14, June 11, July 9, August 13, September 10, October 8, November 12, and December 10, all at 7:30 p.m. and all by Zoom, except June 11th and September 10th would be in person at the town hall. Will anybody make that motion?
Can we amend that to at the town hall or to an alternative place to be determined? To give us the option of, we may want to meet at the senior center. We may want to meet, I can think of other venues that could end up dovetailing with some activity that we're involved in.
Yeah, I don't have any objection to the amendment, Rick. We just need to be mindful that the meetings are broadcast, and so it has to be done at a place that can be done. That's typically been done at the town hall.
Then leave it as is.
All right. So is that a motion then, Rick?
Yes.
Is there a second?
Second.
I think David won that race. Any further discussion? All right. Hearing none. While we're on this agenda, that passed unanimous. While we're on this agenda item, we have in early years hosted a community forum, usually in January, once it was in February. And we've had modest turnout and usually interesting issues in discussion. And for reasons that I will never understand, each one kind of took on its own personality and had a singular focus. But we didn't do one last year, and I can't remember if we did one the year before. I think we may not need to do it in the sense that people now know where to find us. So not that they frequently do, but what do people think? Do we want to try to do something like that this year? Do we want to resurrect it or leave it be?
Sorry, for February you're talking about?
Well, we can pick the date. We're not wed to a particular month. Historically, we did it in January, except one year we were a little flat-footed, and so we didn't actually do it until February. We're having this conversation a little late, but not so late that we couldn't put something together for the end of January if we wanted, or February if we prefer, or March. Shala.
My recollection of one of them in the last couple of years was perhaps not enough time to sufficiently get the word out about the community forum. And so if we are going to do it, I would offer that we maybe want to give ourselves a little bit of a longer runway to be able to sufficiently advertise and make it known that the forum is happening through as many relevant channels as possible. And I also would be more interested in really trying to make sure we're moving forward on the townwide survey, because that to me gives us more usable information than whatever number of folks might join us for a community forum.
That's a point well taken. And there's no reason why the community forum has to be at any particular time of the year. Maybe once we have the survey out and the survey results back, depending upon what they are, that could lead to a useful community conversation.
I like that
So
idea.
I'm more than happy to table this unless anybody wants to pursue something sooner and talk about it now.
I don't. I just want to say that I like that idea because historically it's been sort of folks coming to share with us. But at the point at which we have sufficiently collected and analyzed data, it actually could be that we are having a forum to share the results of the survey with members of the town who are interested to come hear, what we found.
Okay. David, looks like you might have something to say.
I just wonder whether we want to use the survey as a way to advertise for the forum. If you're going to be sending something out in kind of an advertising manner, could we settle on a date and get it folded into the text, the end, let's say the end of the text of the survey?
It's an interesting suggestion. It's a little bit of a chicken and egg problem. If the forum is to talk about interesting results from the survey and we have no idea until after the survey sent out, if
That is a
interesting
risk. That is
results.
true.
I'm inclined to think that we'll figure out a way to publicize the meeting if we choose to have it. All right, I think that completes that agenda item. And then last up, I think maybe just to start a discussion tonight, I suspect that people have not delved into this data that it was shared with our agenda in any depth. If I'm wrong, by all means, disabuse me of my confusion. But these data were shared with us and have some interest. There are some differences in terms of suspension rates between Hillcrest versus Madison. There are some elevated suspension rates in the special ed cohort. There are some higher suspension rates within the Latino portion of our community, and also within the portion of the community that participates in the free or reduced price meal opportunity. There may be other aspects of the data that are also interesting if we want to dive into them. And so again, if folks came to the meeting prepared to dive in, I don't mean to foreclose that conversation this evening, but if not, my question is this an item that we want to explore and put back on the agenda for next month to talk about in more depth? Or is this an item that we're not interested in exploring? And I guess I'll ask that question yet one other way, because this is talking about suspension from our schools. It may be that, in fact, what we want to do is have a conversation with the education department about the data rather than amongst ourselves, in which case we can take it off as an agenda item and hope to have the opportunity to talk with folks from the education department who might visit us in our meeting. That would be the option that actually is of most interest to me.
I agree. I think it'd be more. I think more voices.
I'm sorry, David?
More voices in the room. I agree. Makes more sense to do it when we have the education department in attendance.
I agree with that. I think you've highlighted that there are disparities here, and certainly we could take additional time to look at those disparities if there are those who haven't done that yet. But to me, this is a prime example of why collaborating with our committee can be potentially helpful, or at least supportive of trying to explore some of the why behind these things, and potentially even support with the so what of data like this.
So I guess stay tuned. We'll see if the conversation with Dr. Semmel leads to engagement, and if so, we can engage with with him and others on this. Any other discussion under new business this evening? All right. I'll invite a motion.
I move to adjourn.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. All in favor? Samantha and Chris, I can't see your hand, so would you just let us know how you voted on that one?
I agree.
Aye.
Okay, I think that we're unanimous. Oh, Michelle dropped off. I was just going to thank her again, but the minutes can reflect that we thanked her enough. And I tried to do it at the end. I wish everybody wonderful holidays and a happy new year. Joanne, would you please submit our calendar to the town? Thank you all.
Thank you, you
Likewise.
too, John.
Happy
Take care.
holidays.